Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of GAMA Perks. My name is David Abelson. I'm the education manager for GAMA, and I'm here today with Chen from Jellop. He's the program manager of games, and he's here to talk to us a little bit about crowdfunding. Hi, Chen.
Hey, David, I'm extremely excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you. And I just want to jump right in and talk about crowdfunding. So let's just get started with what is crowdfunding and where does crowdfunding take place for those who don't already know?
Yeah, so crowdfunding at its very base is basically just asking the consumer directly to support your project instead of putting it through a publisher and everything else and then going back down to them. It's you as a creator going up to them and saying, "Hey, I have this great idea. I need this much money to get it started. Are you interested in helping me?" Right now, crowdfunding takes place mostly on a couple of established platforms. The biggest of which is Kickstarter, obviously, but also places like GameFound, Indiegogo, BackerKit. They all kind of also do something in the realm.
Great. Does one sort of stand out as being more popular or more prevalent than another? Or
Yeah,
no?
the what we call the white whale of crowdfunding is definitely Kickstarter. It has more audience than anything else. The projects on there raise more money than anything else, and it's kind of the default, really. And we also are one of Kickstarter's official digital ad partners. So that's the one that we would recommend you go on if you're having trouble trying to decide which one to pursue.
Okay, fair enough. Appreciate that. Hey, why would I want to crowdfund a game? Or who would want to crowdfund a game?
Yeah, this is a great question. Because you might have heard of a Kickstarter before and heard of all the big games that are on it, but really it's about you and what your needs are when you want to crowdfund a game. And so for a lot of people, crowdfunding is a way to self-publish something, right? So obviously we all know once you have a game design completely done and developed, let's say, and you have a prototype, there's still a lot of steps that have to happen before that game gets on shelves. And so if you consider yourself more of a business-minded person and you don't need to hire like a publisher to handle all of the manufacturing, distribution, all that other stuff, if you want to kind of deal with it all yourself, then that's kind of what Kickstarter is for. It allows you to kind of cut out the middleman a little bit there and self-publish something instead of going to somebody else. Um, there are different kind of reasons that you'd want to go on Kickstarter depending on who you are as to why do you want to crowdfund a game. If you're a relatively small publisher, the most obvious kind of reason is that Kickstarter will help you hit a minimum manufacturing target. So let's say you have a game and you go to the factory. The factory says, "Well, we'll make you 2,500 copies of it at minimum, right? And that's going to cost you X amount of dollars, and that amount is going to be pretty high." So a lot of times, what creators will do is they'll go on Kickstarter and they'll try to make that minimum amount of manufacturing, and then they'll get that first batch using that money. If you're more of an established publisher, Kickstarter is also actually good for some slightly different reasons, which is that it's just very exciting. Like when you say you want to have a Kickstarter campaign, people kind of feel like, oh, we're going to help this thing come to life. We're going to provide the support that the project needs to get off the ground. So Kickstarter offers a couple of things in that area as well. It offers interact more directly with your client base, right? Because there's going to be very excited people. They'll be in your comments section asking you questions about the project. You can send updates to them, which they can also then comment on, and it also can help you kind of get more very excited people because Kickstarter backers we found tend to be very loyal to the brand, and they tend to have a lot of lifetime adherence, which basically it just means that they'll buy more stuff from you in the future. And to be honest, there is very little else I can think of that will get you these kind of really loyal backers easier than a Kickstarter campaign. Now, I do have to say one quick thing, which is that if you haven't really thought about Kickstarter in, let's say, 4 to 5 years, the landscape has changed a lot. What I said before with crowdfunding, where it's like you just give them an idea and they'll just give you money, that has changed pretty significantly. I would say 3 or 4 years ago, you could get away with being like, "Oh, the game is 85% done. Like, will you give me money?" And the answer was yes. Whereas nowadays, because larger publishers have been on Kickstarter to run some projects, and people are more used to kind of finish games on Kickstarter, you do have to have a done game basically like 99% of the way done before people will be willing to give you money.
Wow. Okay. That's a really, really good explanation. But I'm wondering, how do I measure? Now, I've decided to crowdfund, and you talked about Kickstarter a lot, but I assume you mean all crowdfunding platforms when you say that. How do I measure the success of my crowdfunding campaign?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to what I said before, which is it's based on what you need from it, right? Success is kind of what you define. We've worked with clients all the way from people who just say like, "Oh, I just want like $5,000 to make my game like happen," versus people who are like, "Oh, I need like hundreds of thousands of dollars." So the dollar amount is kind of one thing you have to consider. What is a success to you? Do you just need to make that minimum manufacturing order, or are do you need more based on your production costs and your own personal internal goals? Is this going to be like a part-time fun thing for you, or do you want to actually grow into like a publishing company? Like all these things are kind of swirling around because anybody can start a crowdfunding project, right? So it depends a lot on the context. So as I mentioned before, for a lot of larger publishers, the excitement is a big part of it, which means that Kickstarter campaigns are almost kind of like marketing stunts at this point. So it helps you grow awareness of your product, right? And it also helps you offer things to your loyal backers that you might not be able to otherwise. Because one of the big things with Kickstarters is that the backers tend to enjoy getting more into the process of your game, right? So if you can offer things on Kickstarter like, hey, I have this, let's say, character design I want you to vote on. I hear 3 sketches, like vote on one of these 3 sketches, and we'll develop that into the final for the game. Or something like, if you are one of the first, I don't know, 100, 200 backers, like we'll put your name on the box or something like that. So success for some is a certain dollar amount, that you have to hit. For others, it's being able to engage your clients your customers like this, and so they'll be more loyal in the future. And so it kind of differs and there's a whole range of factors that you can think of based on your specific situation. I
Okay.
would just recommend that if it's your very first campaign and you've never done Kickstarter before, set your expectations realistically. There are a lot of projects on the platform.
Okay. Thank you. That was good. So, but it makes me wonder, what are some of the preparations that I need to make in order to be prepared to have a successful crowdfunding campaign?
Yeah, so this is actually great because I was just kind of mentioning it a little bit at the end of the last question, which is that there are a lot of projects on Kickstarter. So in 2025 when we're recording this, like Kickstarter is kind of a known quantity for launching board games, and so what that means is there are tons and tons of projects on Kickstarter. So one of the things you actually need to do is to kind of figure out like what makes your game stand out. I think that's the most important thing for success on Kickstarter, from what I've seen and from the projects we've worked on, is what's special about your game, and how do you kind of set up a campaign to make it successful on Kickstarter. And so what I mean by that first is the game quote unquote good for a Kickstarter audience? And now I'm putting this in quotes because people are going to argue with me about this, in that there is no easy way to kind of tell whether or not something is good for a Kickstarter audience. But in my personal opinion, after seeing a lot of campaigns, I think what it kind of comes down to is how unique is this offering, sort of. So, for example, if I see something on Kickstarter, and I can buy it from I can see it in a Target, right? Or I can see a similar game in Target or Walmart or something else that's kind of easy to access, I'm less likely to buy that game. The games that we've seen do well over the past year or so have universally been games that are unique in some way, like a unique theme, a unique component, a unique mechanic, something where the backer looks at the page and thinks to themselves, this is going to be really hard to get if I don't get it now. So the core game has to be good. And like I said before, with the backer saying like, "Oh, I need to get this now," it's also kind of what you offer in the campaign. So if you offer specific things like maybe like an alternate color box, or a spot foiling only on the Kickstarter exclusive editions or something like that, that can also help convince people to back your project. One thing that I know has gotten a lot of talk is like mechanically unique expansions. I personally am not a fan of of gating mechanically unique stuff behind Kickstarter exclusives. What you could do, obviously, is just give them a discount. We've seen a lot of people say, like, we have a campaign that has an expansion, and if you get back on Kickstarter, we'll include the expansion for free. Otherwise, if you buy it after the Kickstarter, we'll charge you $15 or whatever for it. So you need to stand out and kind of give them like a good deal, sort of. And then, as I mentioned this a little bit before, but also kind of the engagement is also very important for a successful Kickstarter. You have to make sure that you basically on Kickstarter, once you run a campaign, you can send them an update, right? And what an update will do is it'll send them like an email notification, it'll put a message in their Kickstarter inbox, etc. And as John Ritter, former head of Kickstarter, used to say, you should try to keep it like a party. So when they get that notification, they should be like excited to see what you have to say, and they should be happy about it. Because I think the key to a successful Kickstarter, A, product, but B is also trying to kind of grow the community, right? A lot of people play board games in general because they want community. They like being with other people, like talking about cool board gaming things with other people. And so the more you can do with that during a campaign, the more you can kind of get people excited about, oh, this game is coming out, and not only this game is coming out, but this game is coming out, and I need to tell all my friends about it. Like that's the kind of key thing to kind of get your campaign to really skyrocket. Let me think. What else? Oh, sorry. And also with the engagement, you should probably be prepared to answer every comment people say. I know this can be annoying, but unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your point of view, at this point, Kickstarter backers are used to seeing either the creator or someone, like a collaborator on the project respond to every comment that people make on both the comments page and on the updates, just because it's nice to hear from the creator. It's nice to realize the creator's a real person, and it's nice to get it's nice for people to have their kind of concerns addressed.
So managing a crowdfunding campaign takes a lot of work on the part of the creator, for sure.
Yes.
And a lot of planning in advance.
Yes. That was actually the next thing I was going to get to, which is pre-launch. Kind of everything I've talked about is what happens after the campaign's already launched. But one of the things that you're going to want to do, again, like I said before, very saturated space. You need to make sure that when you launch like your launch day, it goes really well. Because to be perfectly honest, most backers on Kickstarter are bandwagoners, and they'll be more likely to back your campaign if they see that it's already been funded and it's already pretty hot. Like there's already a lot of people on it, a lot of people are interested, talking in the comments, etc. So pre-launch is actually also pretty important. We actually at Jellop do not do pre-launch, but I'm going to shout out our friends at Launchboom here, because Launchboom is kind of I would say the standard bearers in what makes it for a good pre-launch campaign. So I would talk to them if you're interested at all in that. But basically, pre-launch is just get people excited about your product, tell them it's coming soon, or even better, if you have a specific launch date, tell them like, prepare your browsers for this date. Like we're gonna go live at this date with this product that I've already made you a pitch, and you're already excited, and you're gonna come over on day one and back it, and say nice things about it, and like post about it to all your friends and all that kind of stuff. Back to kind of the live portion of the campaign, crowdfunding campaigns are typically sprints. We have a internal doc that I think we actually have it publicly available somewhere, but we call it like sprint versus marathon, with the idea that like typical e-commerce is kind of more like a marathon where you have just extremely long campaigns, and you kind of put a little bit of money in and you kind of see how they respond and all that kind of stuff. But Kickstarter campaigns are typically a month or less, so they're real quick. They're very fast sprints, and you kind of have to go in with that mentality of like I said before, like Kickstarter campaigns are great places to get people who are very loyal to your brand. And so in the short time you have, which is about a month, you want to try to get your campaign as big as possible, because after the campaign, these people will buy more stuff from you. And also there will be just not be as easy of a chance to get these kind of excited backers as there is going to be during the live campaign.
Gotcha. Well, that was a lot to take in. My next question actually is about Jellop. So after all that is said, with all this work that I have to do and all this pre-launch that I've done, and my campaign is just about to start, what does Jellop do to help me reach my success goal if I choose to crowdfund?
Yeah, so this is the company I work for. This is the shirt I'm wearing, and my little tag here. So Jellop is a digital advertising partner, and what we do primarily is we run ads while your campaign is live. We have proprietary algorithms. We have a whole team dedicated to figuring out how best to advertise on Meta and Google. So basically, I would say our main things are budgeting and targeting. We've been around for about 9 or 10 years now, and so over all that time, we figured out kind of who we need to put the ads in front of, who are most likely to kind of back your project. And so if you've ever tried to run Meta ads by yourself or Google ads by yourself, you'll know that the interfaces are a little opaque, I would say, to be nice. And so what we kind of offer is you just hand your project over to us on those platforms specifically, and we can free you up to do more fun things like talking to your backers on comments or coming up with new content that you want to push. But basically, what we do is you give us some assets from your campaign, any sort of creatives you have that you think would show your campaign off well. We'll put those into ads and we'll run them on Facebook, Instagram, Google, and YouTube for you. Right after we launch, you also get a dashboard that's live updating, and you'll get me because I handle all games projects for the company. You'll also get a dedicated Slack channel. So I'm gonna be in there. People from a lot of other teams are gonna be in there. So if you have any questions, you can ask us there, and we'll answer them. And also you can check the live dashboard to see what is our ad spend, how is it returning, etc. We also, I think one of the other cool things about us is that we're relatively risk-free. So the only money that you give to Jellop as a company is a commission. We don't charge setup fees for any campaigns, and so we only charge a commission on pledges that we can prove came through one of our ads. So if someone just went onto Kickstarter, the front page, saw your campaign, clicks through it, pledges something, that's great. We don't take any percentage of that. That's all you. Someone has to click through one of our ads and then pledge in order for us to take a percentage of that. And that's just kind of nice because we only do well if you do well, right? So what we kind of specialize in is we specialize in taking projects that are I would consider like good and making them really great, because we run ads on all these platforms, and what the ads do is we are good at getting people to click through the ads and go to your page, but then your page also still has to convert. So at the end of the day, it's still about your project's quality first and foremost. But if you have a project that you really believe in and you think it's going to do really well, we can kind of help it take off in the stratosphere.
Great. That sounds pretty exciting. But I think we've gotten to the point of why we're here today, which is that Jellop is a GAMA perk partner. So you offer a special or a discount of some sort to members, and we want to make sure now that we talk to members about what that is.
Yeah. So we are also GAMA members. I personally am going to GAMA Expo, and I enjoy interacting in all the GAMA socials and stuff. The gaming community, honestly, I'm relatively new to the industry. I've only been working in this position for about a year and a half now, but it's so friendly, and I love what GAMA does to kind of bring people together to talk about this thing that we all love, which is games. So the membership offer here for Jellop is a $200 $50 ad credit, which basically just means the first $250 you spend on ads is on us, and it's meant for your first campaign with us. So not your first Kickstarter campaign, but your first campaign where you're working with us. And all you have to do to activate that is basically just to email me. My email is on this slide. It's chen@jellop.com. Just email me. Mention what project you're on. Mention that you're a GAMA member, and we will kind of apply this at the invoicing stage. I will mention that we've been around for 9 years. We've worked on some very, very large campaigns. We've worked on Peak Design's like $12 million campaign. We worked on Exploding Kittens like first campaign, Throw Burrito campaign. And we are generally very loath to give out any sort of discount because we don't feel we feel a little guilty not giving discounts to all those larger players. And so this is actually pretty special because we barely give discounts on anything at all. And I think $250 is actually a pretty good deal, especially if you're considering giving us a shot. So I'm also just generally available. If you want to ask me any questions about crowdfunding, if you want to ask me any questions about your game specifically, or how you want to design the page, or ad campaigns or anything like that, you'll feel free to just email me at chen@jellop.com. I just enjoy talking about this stuff. I think it's fun, and I love talking to creators and seeing like all the cool projects that people put out. So feel free to email me with anything. But if you are excited to work with us and you want to work with us, and you want to take advantage of this GAMA member offer, send me an email and put GAMA into the subject line so I can see it easily.
Great. Thank you so much for being here today, Chen. I think we learned a lot about crowdfunding and what Jellop can do for us if we decide to include you in our marketing plans. And I think our members now have a little bit more to think about.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, one last thing that I forgot to mention before that I add really quickly. Our typical lead time is 3 or 4 weeks. So I would like for you to contact me about a month before you launch, just as a final thing.
Okay. So reach out to you about a month before launch, then you'll handle marketing during the campaign on the 4 outlets that you mentioned: YouTube and Google and Meta's products, Instagram and Facebook.
Yep.
And then everybody will make millions of dollars. And
we hope.
Great. Thanks for your time today, Chen. This has been GAMA Perks. My name is David Abelson, Education Manager for GAMA. Have a great day.
Have a great day.